请收看佛学英文这一堂课。Let's read a few sentences about the story of a young monk called Nanda and his teacher, Sankara. Repeat after me. The next day, the young monk waited until Sankara left monastery. In his absence, Nanda swept his room, brought water for drinking and washing, prepared a seat for him of cushions and flowers, and laid out the gift of the robe. Nanda sat down and waited while he saw Sankara returning. He quickly went out the road, greeted him respectfully, and brought him to his quarters. Seeing the room, the teacher was pleased with the young monk's energy and kindness. Nanda invited him to be seated on the prepared seat, gave him water to drink, bathed his feet. Then Nanda took a palm leaf and began to fan the Holy One. He began the presentation of the gift, saying that he wanted with all his heart to give this, his best robe, to Sankara. The teacher detected that the young monk had not been mindful of his desires and had allowed himself to become attached to the idea of giving this gift. Seeing this as an opportunity to teach Nanda the danger of unmindfulness, the Holy One replied that he already had a complete set of robes, and as he had no need for the gift, instructed Nanda to give the robe to some needy monk. At this, Nanda repeated his request several times, only to have the teacher thank him for offering the gift, but instruct him to give it elsewhere. This polite refusal hurt Nanda's feelings, and resentment arose in his mind. In this clouded state of mind, he stood fanning the teacher. Rather than practicing mindfulness by dismissing his resentment and attending to the fanning, Nanda permitted his mind to drag on the instant. As his mind wandered concerning the declined gift, his resentment grew, and he thought, if Sankara is not willing to receive my gift, why should I remain a monk? I will become a householder once more. Then his thoughts began to wander restlessly, taking his attention farther and farther from the present moment in which he stood fanning the teacher. Repeat. The next day, the young monk waited until Sankara left monastery. In his absence, Nanda swept his room, brought water for drinking and washing, prepared a seat for him of cushion and flowers, and laid out the gift of the road. Then Ananda sat down and waited. When he saw Sankara returning, he quickly went out the road, greeted him respectfully, and brought him to his quarters. Seeing the room, the teacher was pleased with the young monk's energy and kindness. Ananda invited him to be seated on the prepared sheet, gave him water to drink, bathed his feet. Then Ananda took a palm leaf and began to fan the Holy One. He began the presentation of the gift, saying that he wanted with all his heart to give this, his best robe to Sankara. The teacher detected that the young monk had not been mindful of his desires and had allowed himself to become attached to the idea of giving this gift. Seeing this as an opportunity to teach Ananda the danger of unmindfulness, the Holy One replied that he already had a complete set of robes, and as he had no need for the gift, instructed Ananda to give the robe to some needy monk. At this, Ananda repeated his request several times, only to have the teacher thank him for offering the gift, but instructed him to give it elsewhere. This polite refusal hurt Ananda's feelings, and resentment arose in his mind. In this cloudy state of mind, he stood fanning the teacher, rather than practicing mindfulness by dismissing his resentment and attending to the fanning. Ananda permitted his mind to dwell on the instant. As his mind wandered concerning the declining gift, his resentment grew, and he thought, if Sankara is not willing to receive my gift, why should I remain a monk? I will become a householder once more. Then his thoughts began to wander restlessly, taking his attention farther and farther from the present moment in which he stood fanning the teacher. In our last class, we have discussed about the story of a young mother who lost his only child. This young mother went to the Buddha asking for advice to solve this problem. The young mother hoped that the Buddha would bring her only child back to life. The Buddha agreed to help her, if the young mother could bring a bag of white mustard seeds from any house which had no persons died before. Then the young mother went to beg the white mustard seeds from one house to one house, asking if anybody in the house had died before. The answer was always positive. All the people replied that some persons in the house died before. Here, the grandfather died 3 years ago, and there a mother died by giving birth to her last child. Finally, in a very short time, the young mother realized that death is a must for a person. Every living being would die one day after he was born. The mother went back to the Buddha with empty hand. She could not find any hot mustard seeds from any house which had no member died before. The Buddha comforted this young mother by saying that all the living beings would die someday. And it is impossible to have a person live forever. This young mother realized the fact and the reality of life, and she stopped weeping, and she understood that everybody should die one day, and there is no way to bring back to life of her dead only child. We are ignorant. We are ordinary beings. We are rushing to tomb after we were born. And after we die, we are rushing to the womb and started our cycle of birth and death. This is called samsara. And this is called the cycle of birth and death. There is no way to get out of this cycle of birth and death except enlightenment. Only the Buddha Dharma, only the wisdom can bring us out of this cycle of birth and death. After this story, we also introduce to you a story of a young monk called Nanda. This young monk was not mindful enough of his desires. He wanted to cultivate merits by giving his best robes to an enlightened teacher called Sangara. Sangara was an old monk. He was enlightened, and he was highly respected by this young monk, Nanda. So we will continue the story between Nanda and Sangara. When Nanda cherished the idea of offering his best robe to the old enlightened monk Sangara, he thought to himself, by giving this robe and showing the generosity to this holy person, I can have great merit, and I would become enlightened in a very short time. However, this is selfish desire, and this is a handicap to enlightenment. An enlightened person should be free of his selfishness. He should open his mind and his heart totally. An enlightened person opens his mind in order to develop his wisdom so that he can penetrate into the reality of our life and the universe. So this enlightened person would not be influenced by the circumstance. An enlightened person also opens his heart to develop his compassion. Compassion is a great love to all the different beings in order to help the different beings out of the cycle of birth and death. An enlightened person opens his heart and his mind to develop wisdom and compassion. Without wisdom and compassion, nobody can become enlightened. However, the young monk Nanda did not realize the importance of unselfishness. He still had the idea of giving generosity to the old monk. He still hoped to build up his great merit by showing this generosity. The attachment to the idea of giving generosity would hamper this young monk from becoming enlightened. When the idea came to the mind of Nanda, Nanda prepared the way to show his gift to the old monk Sankara. Let's continue the story. The next day, the young monk waited until Sankara left monastery. As we understand, before we speak and act, we usually have some idea in our mind. This is called Sankara in Sanskrit or Pali. We have Sankara first. That means we have volitional desire, volitional action in our mind. Then we will proceed to behave or to speak in order to express our desire. The next day, the young monk Nanda waited until this old monk Sankara left monastery. In his absence, Nanda swept his room, brought water for drinking and washing, preparing a seat for him of cushions and flowers, and laid out the gift of the robe. When the old monk Sankara left the monastery, the young monk Nanda took this opportunity. He went into the old monk Sankara's room. Nanda swept Sankara's room, cleaned Sankara's room, and prepared his bed. Sankara was absent. He didn't notice that Nanda went into his room and prepared the room. Nanda brought water for drinking and washing. In ancient times, people didn't have the tap water as today. Today, we are living in a scientific age. We had scientific inventions to facilitate our living. We have tap water. It is very convenient for us to use the tap water for drinking and washing. We can use the tap water in cleaning our house, in boiling the water for drinking. Every house has tap water in modern days, in modern city. The tap water goes to every house for the convenience of living. However, in ancient time, people had to go out to the river, to the well, to the lake, or to the pond to carry the water back to the room for drinking and washing. Landa did the same way. He went out to the well or to the river or to the pond, and he brought back the drinking water and the washing water for the old monk Sankara in order to serve this old monk. Nanda also prepared a seat for the old monk of cushions and the flowers. Nanda prepared a seat of cushions, put the cushions on the floor, on the ground, in order to have the old monk Sankara sit on the seat. He also arranged the flowers for the old monk. Flowers are used as a decoration in the house in order to beautify the room and to have the flower good smell. Landa lay out the gift of the robe on the ground. After sweeping the room of the old monk Sankara, bringing water for drinking and washing from outside, preparing a seat of cushion for the old monk Sankara, and arranging flowers for the teacher. Landa laid out the gift of the robe. He laid out the gift of his best robe on the ground in order to present the robe to the old monk. Then Landa sat down and waited. After taking all the necessary preparations, Landa sat down on the ground and waited for the old monk Sankara's coming back. When he saw Sankara returning, he quickly went out the road, greeted him respectfully, and brought him to his quarters. Landa sat down and waited for Sankara to come back. When he saw that Sankara was coming back from outside, he quickly went out the road. He was so anxious to see the Sankara and to present his best robe. He quickly went out the road. He rushed out of the house to the road, greeted Sankara respectfully. Nanda welcomed his old teacher, Sankara, in a very respectful way, in a very gentle way, to show his homage and respect to the old monk. Nanda after showing his respect to the old monk, took the old monk Sankara back to his quarters. His quarters means his dormitory or his room. Quarter is a corner of place where a monk lives. When Nanda saw Sankara returning, he rushed out the road, welcomed the old monk respectfully, and took him to his quarters. Seeing the room, the teacher was pleased with the young monk's energy and kindness. The old monk Sankara was taken back to his own quarters. Of course, he saw that his room was well prepared and cleaned by the young monk Nanda. The teacher was so happy with the young monk's energy and kindness. Nanda swept the rooms of Sankara. Nanda brought back water for drinking and washing from outside. Nanda prepared a seat of cushions and flowers for the old monk Sankara. Nanda laid out the gift of robes. Everything was in order. The old monk was so happy that the young monk Nanda used his full energy in doing all the preparations. And the old monk was happy with the young monk's kindness. The young monk was so full of love to clean the house and to present his gift. Nanda invited him to be seated on the prepared seat, gave him water to drink, bathed his feet. Sankara was brought back to his quarters. Sankara saw the situations of his room. He was happy with the young monk Nanda. Of course, Nanda wanted to show his gratitude, wanted to express his kindness, and to express his generosity to the old monk. Nanda invited the old monk Sankara to be seated on the prepared seat. The prepared seat refers to the set of cushions Nanda prepared for the old monk. Nanda gave water to the old monk Sankara to drink. Nanda also cleaned and washed the old monk Sankara's feet as a token of gratitude. Then Nanda took a palm leaf and began to fan the Holy One. As we understand, Sri Lanka is a country situated in the tropical area. The weather is so hot. In ancient time, people didn't have the air conditioner. People didn't have the electricity. People didn't have the electric fan to cool down the house. People had to use the leaf to fan the wind in order to cool down. As a disciple, Orlando took a palm leaf and began to fan the Holy One. Palm is a tropical tree in Southeast Asia and South Asia. The palm leaf is very large and wide enough to fan, to cool down people. Randa took a palm leaf and began to fan the Holy One. Fan here is used as a verb. To fan the fan in order to store the air, to have the air flow here and there in order to cool down the persons. He began the presentation of the gift, saying that he wanted with all his heart to give this, his best robe to Sankara. Orlando, after attended to the old monk, he began the presentation of gift. He brought his best robe and wanted to present it to the old monk. Nanda said that he wanted with all his heart to give his best robe to Sankara. Nanda expressed his hope that he wanted to present it. He wanted to present his best robe to the teacher as an expression of thanks and gratitude. The teacher detected that the young monk had not been mindful of his desires and had allowed himself to become attached to the idea of giving this gift. The teacher discovered that the young monk had not been mindful of his desires. He found out that the young monk was not mindful of his desires. The young monk, Nanda, was so anxious to express his thanks to the old monk Sankara. The teacher, Sankara, was very mindful. He could discover easily the intentions and the situations of the young monk Nanda. He found that the young monk had not been mindful of his desires and had allowed himself to become detached to the idea of giving this gift. Nanda was not mindful of his own selfish desire. Nanda wanted to present his gift to the old monk in order to have his great merit and to become enlightened in a very short time. He was not mindful. He didn't practice concentration. How could he attain enlightenment? In this state of confusion, there is no way. Nanda allowed himself to become attached to the idea of giving this gift. Nanda was not mindful of his own intention. Seeing this as an opportunity to teach Nanda the danger of unmindfulness, the Holy One replied that he already had a complete set of robes, and as he had no need for the gift, instructed Nanda to give the robe to some needy monk. The old monk Sankara realized that this was a very good opportunity to teach Nanda the danger of unmindfulness. Nanda was not experienced in practicing meditation. Nanda didn't realize the importance of mindfulness, and he had no way to detect his own selfish desire, to detect his idea of giving this gift. The old monk was very compassionate. He utilized this very rare opportunity to teach Nanda that unmindfulness was a great danger. If we are not mindful, we would encounter many problems and difficulties. We may lose our life. We can find out that we are in danger. The old monk Sankara wanted to teach the young monk Nanda. This was a golden opportunity to teach him. The Holy One answered that he already had a complete set of robes according to the rule set down by the Buddha. A monk can only have 3 robes. A monk should not own robes more than 3 pieces. Therefore, the old monk replied to the request of the young monk that he already had a complete set of robes. He needed no robes anymore. And he asked the young monk Nanda to give the gift to some other needed monk. A monk can have only 3 robes. And right now, Sankara had 3 robes already. He needed no more robes. Therefore, he told Nanda to give the robe to some monk who was in need of the robe. At this, Nanda repeated his request several times, only to have the teacher thank him for offering the gift, but instruct him to give it elsewhere. After hearing Sankara's answer, Nanda was very disappointed. Nanda presumed that the old monk Sankara would be very happy with the gift of the robe. But Sankara already had a complete set of robes. He didn't need any more. He instructed Nalanda to give this robe to other native monk. Nalanda was very disappointed at the old monk's answer. He repeated his request several times. Nalanda insisted to present his robe to the old monk. However, the teacher thanked him for offering the gift, but instructed Nalanda to give it elsewhere. The teacher didn't want the robe anymore. He used this golden opportunity to teach Nalanda to be mindful of one's intentions. He wanted Nalanda to give the robe to other monks. This polite refusal hurt Nalanda's feelings, and resentment arose in his mind. The old monk Sankara was very polite in refusing to accept the robe. But this refusal hurt Nalanda's feelings. Nalanda began to arise resentment in his mind. Resentment means hatred. He began to have hatred in his mind because the old monk Sankara didn't want to receive his best robe. In this clouded state of mind, he stood fanning the teacher. Sankara didn't want the robe anymore. Sankara instructed Nalanda to present this gift to other native monk. Nalanda was full of hatred, and hatred is a cloud in mind. In this way, Nalanda was clouded. He didn't see his own mind. He stood fanning the teacher. However, he was unmindful. He was full of hatred. Rather than practicing mindfulness by dismissing his resentment and attending to the fanning, Nalanda permitted his mind to dwell on the incident. Rather than means not doing something as the way needed. Nalanda did not practice mindfulness by dismissing his resentment and attending to the fanning. Nalanda did not clear his resentment in his mind. Nalanda did not have enough attention to the action of fanning the old monk. He didn't attend to the action of fanning. On the contrary, Nalanda permitted himself to dwell on the instant. The instant is the case that Nanda wanted to present the robe to Sankara, but Sankara refused to accept this gift. This is an incident. Nanda was not mindful. He allowed his mind to dwell on the instant. He allowed his mind to think over and over again the instant. He did not understand why Sankara refused to accept the gift. He was so sad that Sankara was not in the way to welcome, to please his gift. As his mind wandered concerning the declined gift, his resentment grew, and he thought to himself. His mind went away. His mind was not concentrated on fanning the old monk. His mind wandered away. His mind thought over the instant again and again concerning the declined gift. The declined gift means the refused gift. Sankara didn't want to take the gift of Nanda. He declined the gift. He didn't want to use the robe. He asked Nanda to present the gift of the robe to other needy monk. His mind grew hatred more and more. He felt restlessly. He was very unhappy. And he thought to himself, if Sankara is not willing to receive my gift, why should I remain a monk? I will become a householder once more. Because Sankara declined the gift from Nanda. Nanda was sad. Nanda felt unhappy with Sankara's polite refusal. He didn't realize that unmindfulness is a great danger to himself. He only had very selfish desire to satisfy his own desire to attain enlightenment in a very short time. He didn't take care of his mind. He didn't concentrate his mind on the present time, here and now. His mind daydreamed of the future. His mind was not in the present time. His mind was dreaming all the time. And it was a great danger to him. Sankara realized that a monk should practice mindfulness all the time. Sankara used this golden opportunity to teach the young monk to practice mindfulness and concentration. However, the young monk Nanda didn't realize the compassion of the old monk Sankara. The polite refusal from Sankara only arose resentment in the young monk Nanda's mind. And as time passes by, resentment grew more and more in the minds of the young monk Landa. Landa thought to himself, if Sankara is not willing to receive my gift, why should I remain a monk? Landa thought that to be a monk should cultivate enlightenment and achieve the goal in a very short time. Landa believed that generosity was a great merit to achieve enlightenment in a very short time. Landa didn't realize that generosity is only a skillful means to cultivate concentration. So he was very disappointed when Sankara told him to give the robe to other monk. Sankara is not willing to receive my robe. Then there is no way for me to be a monk anymore, because I will not have the opportunity to practice generosity. So there is no use for me to remain a monk. I will become a householder once more. That means Landa wanted to disrupt and to become a lay person again. Then his thoughts began to wander restlessly, taking his attention from the present moment, farther and farther, in the place where he stood fanning the teacher. He didn't concentrate on the action of fanning the teacher. This was a great danger to him. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.